I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I definitely heard someone. Why were you born?
Grandma.
I can already envision some of you smiling. That movie holds a special place in some people's heart, and it has caused trauma for some people. So today we're going to scrutinize and criticize that movie because, shocker, that movie was actually a book before it became a movie. Here's another shocking revelation. That movie was actually created for children. Yes. And now it begs the question, was it really fitting for a children's audience? That is what I'm here to do today, because we're going to scrutinize and evaluate every single content warning that there is for this movie. And I tell you, it's a lot, even for adults. So stick around and don't go anywhere. Now, before we get into this video, I'm going to give you a little breakdown of what this animation is about. Coraline was an 11-year-old child that was not happy about her life. She felt her life was boring, and because mom and dad had moved to Oregon where it rained a lot, she did not like it because she could not play in the mud. The only other kid she found was weird, and mom and dad was not paying so much attention because they were busy finishing their projects because they both work from home. And one day Coraline went exploring and she saw a door right in her bedroom that led to an alternate universe where everything in there was almost the same as her real life, only that everything in there was just the way she wanted them. It was every piece of perfect. But you know, perfection is just an illusion. So before she could find that out, she was already knee deep, and she had to crawl her way out of that illusion before it swallowed up her real life. That is what this movie is about. It's wild, even for an 11-year-old. But who doesn't love an adventure? We're going to start off with the good, positive elements of Coraline. In a weird circus style, Coraline highlights the value of parents. It also illustrates somewhat the illusion of perfection versus the value of appreciating what you have. The movie, in an equally indirect way, addresses the dangers of self-absorption. Coraline is often brushed aside as her parents finish demanding projects. And so she's instantly enthralled with her other parents who dote on her. Everything her other parents do is focused on meeting her every want. But this dream world is shown to be empty in the end, and Coraline eventually learns to appreciate even the banalities of reality. The spiritual elements. Firstly, the fake world that Coraline discovers has been created and is being ruled by an evil witch. Secondly, Coraline has been deemed the term a children's horror movie or story, and it has the gothic chops to more than justify this accusation. We got visions, we got monsters, we got gloom, we got terror, and not to mention the ghost of murdered children who are stuck between worlds until Coraline sweeps in, saves them, and releases them into an unspecified eternity. Thirdly, Mrs. Spink and Miss Forcible read Coraline's tea leaves to tell her future, which shows that she's in grave danger. Later, they give her a triangular stone with a round eye hole that allows her to see and ultimately save lost souls. And yeah, lest I forget, the film started with Coraline looking for an old water well by employing a magic dowser. Seeing YB calls her a water witch, she was also called a twitchy, witchy girl. Lastly, other father says a blessing before a meal, but he ends up turning it into a lame rhyme, and it doesn't really address God. Sexual content. This is a movie targeting children, so I should be able to say none. But Coraline did not give me that chance to. So I'll start at the beginning, as it were. In a theatrical acrobatic performance, Miss Spink's torso is shown in a midriff and cleavage revealing mermaid costume. Although I thought personally that was all, we saw Miss Possible appear in nothing more than a bikini bottom and sequin pasties. Coraline shouts in astonishment, "She's practically naked." Oh, darling, I thought so too. Then they did something that made me cringe. Miss Pink and Miss Forcible tear open their fat suit and revealed or showed us much slender and much younger women. I don't know what they were trying to do with that, but it did not sit well with me. At least it sat well with me when I was much younger, but right now it doesn't. Now to my actual favorite part of this whole video, the violent content. In the opening scene, skeleton-like metal hands slice open the ragdoll's mouth, pulls off its button eyes, and takes out the stuffing. Just listening to my description may not seem upsetting, but see this. And secondly, Coraline is also seen burning a doll that represents her father. We understand why she does it, but the sight is still unpleasant. Thirdly, Wybie's mouth gets stitched into a smile because he dared to frown. And Coraline also hits a cat with a rock, and this cat later bites down on a mouse's neck, crunch included. The rat expands into an ugly rat as it dies. Coraline also kicks someone in the head as she scrambles away from danger. The witch, which is actually the most scary part, in her true form is a spider-like hag with a skull for a head, chases Coraline with a good deal of menace and for quite some time. That seems to be what director Henry Sleep was going for with this movie, because I don't think I slept really well after watching this movie as a kid. I don't think I slept well. I don't think I did. I did not. For those of you that are not a fan of profane language use, Coraline used creep, dingbat, jackwad, psycho nerd, and the likes. These are just the ones that I can remember. And Coraline's attitude is sometimes less than agreeable because she whines about almost everything and she taunts the neighbor boy. She still pesters her parents even though they had asked for some peace and quiet. They share a bit of the blame for the family discord too, though. I agree. And in conclusion, like I said before, Coraline was first a book, and I have heard that is way more disturbing than the film. But for someone like me that likes horror, I don't think it is. Okay, in comparison to the movie, yes, it is. Because I think the movie, what the director tried to do was to try to narrow down how scary it was. And still, it was scary. So you can use the movie to check how disturbing Coraline. The book is. And in director Henry Sleep's interview, he said something that I don't quite agree with. He said, in his words, that no matter what happens, Coraline still won. I disagree. Coraline did not win. She was given a choice, not between reality and fantasy, but she was given a choice between selfishness and selflessness. Because it makes me think, okay, if other mother and other father had asked her to do something as easy as cutting her hair, she would have stayed. Because the one thing they asked for her in order for her to be able to stay with them is that she removes her eye and sews button in her eyes. And I feel like she doesn't actually win in the end. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section if you've seen this movie, and let's just share ideas.